Welcome back to This Week. I am pleased to be joined by Addison Pate, President of the Davidson County Young Democrats, and Aaron Dorn, Chairman of the Davidson County Young Republicans. Now, you two have put aside political differences in order to try to get youth involved and get the message out. You need to kind of sell that message to us older folks to put those differences aside. What are you trying to do to get youth involved here locally? Excuse me.
Well, the main thing is we've realized that amongst young voters, they care more about results. And in our mind, especially with metro elections, which are nonpartisan, there's no greater way to get young voters involved in a results-oriented fashion. And I mean, typically, mayors, that's what it's all about on a local scene is results. In addition to that, we have an annual softball game. We work great together. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity to hold a debate series specifically geared towards young voters and get them engaged in the metro elections for council, vice mayor, mayor, and such.
You're trying to get all these candidates, as you said, for mayor and council committed so that young folks can get a chance to hear their ideas one-on-one.
Well, exactly. One of the biggest problems with the election process these days is just there's so much noise, it's difficult to hear the message. And one of the things that younger voters tend to want is message. They're looking for the meat. They want the substance. And so for us, we both agreed that when it comes to a nonpartisan race like Metro Council and Mayor's race, there's no reason why we can't see eye to eye on a number of issues and why we can't work together to bring the candidates to the young voters and have them talk to the young voters about what it is that they see they want to do with Nashville in the future.
Over the last two election cycles, we have seen more and more young people get involved. Any data yet, any information yet, any feeling yet? Are you getting that same kind of feeling from young folks here? Are they involved? Are they interested in these local elections?
Absolutely. I think so. Part of it is the fact that the candidates are going out there on the web. That act in itself is engaging young voters. In addition to that, at least with the Young Republicans, we see a swell every election year in our membership and our day-to-day, week-to-week involvement from people just being engaged in those elections. And it's growing over time. So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be different.
This is a whole new way to get message to not only young voters, but voters in general, but targeting specifically young voters with messages on YouTube and campaign commercials on MySpace and Facebook. Do the young folks appreciate this, at least an attempt to try to get to them, communicating with them on their tools?
I think in the initial sense, it's appreciated that we're being targeted, that we're being talked to, and that there's an attempt to try and bring the message to the younger voter. And I agree with Aaron. With our organization, normally what you see about this time is a huge drop-off in people wanting to get involved, and it's been the exact opposite. Ever since '06 and the big election we had in November, we've had more members, and we're continuing to hear more voices, and people are asking more questions. And by the candidates offering themselves up in these YouTube videos, on these web pages, interviewing with blogs, all these give opportunity for the young voters to hear the message. But at the same time, what the candidates have to realize is it's one thing to try and just do it, but it's another thing to actually give it serious credibility and to put themselves out there on these different formats for the young voters to take a look.
By doing it this way, too, the candidates are able to, unfiltered, get their message directly to you folks.
That's true. One of the problems I think a lot of younger voters have with traditional news outlets sometimes is the fact that the segments are shorter. The candidates provide simply bullet points for those segments, and that's really their message. The mediums that is being used on the internet with MySpace, YouTube, and such, the blogs, is it's forcing the candidates to come out with a lot more detail behind their policy approaches. For instance, Briley's come out with specific points on green energy and making Nashville a leader in sustainable energy. Things like that are the substance that I think a lot of the online mediums are forcing the candidates to put out there for people to engage in.
And it doesn't cut out the mainstream media.
Sure.
What it simply does is it gives more detail. Where we're frustrated by the 30-minute news show on CNN or the one-hour talk show on Fox or MSNBC, and we're not really getting the meat, we're just getting the soundbite, the blogs, the YouTubes, the MySpace pages allow us to interact, allow us to ask the questions, and allow us to get started. And we hope that with our debate series, that will be kind of the cherry on top, that we're going to take a lot of what we're seeing in a lot of these different areas and put it to focus and give the candidates time to talk and not simply to give us a happy answer that makes the 10 o'clock news.
Do you think it works in reverse, too, in that blog conversations about certain topics, if politicians look at these blogs, they will maybe find out topics that are of interest to young voters that maybe they didn't know about before?
I think so. Part of it is probably preventative messaging, where they'll read a lot of stuff that bloggers are saying to prevent that from spreading like wildfire, which is also a huge benefit, I think, of blogs in the sense that it gets word of mouth going a lot more. For instance, I may read a blog piece and go tell 5 to 10 of my friends about what I've read on that blog. They may not ever go and read it, but the word of mouth starts getting out there from person to person.
And with blogs, blogs is one of those very, very, very finicky types of very much so. And there are those blogs that, even the best blogs, News2ZoneVolunteerVoters.com or Nashville21.com, these are blogs that do have opinions. Blog is still an evolution. Blogging itself is still going to have to kind of find its voice a little bit and perhaps find a medium between opinion and news, but it does allow people to talk and chew on more information than they normally would.
These are new attempts, new technologies. There are some candidates in the mayor's race that don't have video players, that aren't on MySpace. Others are on MySpace, have their own website, have their own website. Do you think those that don't are losing out to this audience?
I don't know that they necessarily lose an audience or lose voters because of it, but it's such a tremendous opportunity for them to chime in on and engage in. It's one other medium that they have to engage potential voters who may not be engaged otherwise. So they may not lose anyone, but they're giving up an opportunity to gain a lot of people in their fold.
And it reaches across. As Aaron and I have found out, I was born and raised here in Davidson County, grew up through the system. Aaron moved here a couple years ago and is one of thousands that have moved to Nashville because of all the opportunities that we've had. Yet these are places where we both come to the well to find out more information. So in order for candidates to really take hold of a major opportunity.
Addison Pate, Aaron Dorn, thank you for your time. Good luck with your debate series.
Thank
Stay
you.
with us. This week continues after this.